I don't know what league is what. I don't know the pathway. There's so many different leagues, bro. Like
some players on your team don't take the sport as serious as you.
And I wasn't even playing at a level where the exposure is so high, and that opportunity kind of presented itself.
If you're a baller and want to make it pro, there's many pathways to do it, but which way is the best? Let's start off with you, Isaiah. You know, going to the college pathway, what academy did you come from, and how did you even get into college to begin with?
Yeah, so I played at Charlotte Soccer Academy. Back then it was the DA, which is not a thing anymore. But before then, I played OEP, I played USYS, and from Charlotte Soccer Academy, I went to Clemson's ID camp, and I got scouted from there, and that's how I was able to go to Clemson.
What do you guys think about the college pathway? Because obviously for you, you know, you were able to get drafted into MLS, get drafted to Houston Dynamo, make yourself a home there and get a contract. But a lot of kids nowadays, as you know, signing 14, 15, playing in MLS, you know, by 16, 17 years old. But it wasn't like that 4 years ago before we went into school. Honestly, I remember when I even went to UVA myself, homegrowns weren't playing any minutes. So it was like either you go to school, you go to college and get an education and try to go to MLS from there, or you sign and hope for the best, and maybe you even get dropped the following year. What do you guys see in the platform in the development scheme that's changed nowadays?
Yeah, I think back then, as you know, second teams, homegrown contracts. I mean, the second teams for MLS teams were playing USL Championship. So that gap of being a 16-year-old and not having Next Pro and having to play with grown men in the championship, or not being able to be a homegrown MLS, that jump was a lot scarier back then. And in addition to that, those pathways, if you're at a non-MLS team like I was, like how would I be able to even get to an Atlanta United to even make that jump? So from the non-MLS teams, MLS teams, the pathway wasn't clear. Now with MLS Next, the Academy, you have MLS Next Pro and MLS, you're starting to see that MLS Next Pro, the gap between the first division academy is starting to become a little bit clearer.
What would you guys say is like the pros and cons of signing MLS Next?
The pros, obviously you're in an environment where the first team's right there. So if you perform, you're going to get that opportunity. Like at the Vancouver Whitecaps, if you're performing, you're going to get a second team. You're going to be training with the second team. And now if you do well there, you're going to be training with the first team. So there's always that opportunity to just go up the totem pole and get that. The professional game is right there. You just have to perform in your age group and show you're one of the best, and that opportunity is going to present itself.
I think the pros for MLS Next in general just are, you know, getting into an MLS academy. We already know that, you know, US Soccer, they look at the MLS academies for the youth national teams. So it's more than likely, even though, listen, America's a big country and we do miss out on a lot of talent, you know, because a lot of players don't make MLS academies. So what happens to the guys, you know, who don't have that pathway to play for an MLS academy? What if you're from Alaska?
I agree.
What if you're from Oregon and, you know, Portland Timbers is not the best place for you, might not live in the same region. So I think that there needs to be a way for other players to develop, and I think we've seen more other leagues progress and come through other than MLS Next, and we're going to go through them. So what do you guys think about like ECNL, for an example?
I think ECNL is a great pathway as well. I mean, we kind of talked about that pathway of getting up to the first team, but if you're not in a pro MLS academy, then, you know, it's really just about where you're going to get the minutes. So the non-MLS pro MLS Next academies in ECNL, I feel like they're pretty on par. Like if you're getting good development, good coaching, I feel like either league you can be able to develop.
Yeah, so many opportunities present itself from that league as well, like college opportunities. You see a lot of guys develop even further in college and then get those pro opportunities from there.
I love that, man. And now we're going to go through like, you know, the USL pipeline. Because I think USL for me is such an interesting place because when I was in college, after you finish your 4 years of college, if you don't get drafted to an MLS team, that's more than likely where you're going to be signing USL Championship. We've seen some players make the jump from USL to MLS, but in American soccer culture, we don't see that jump very often. You'll see a lot of guys, you know, go from the English Championship, play in the Premier League, go from, you know, League One in England to play in the Championship to go to Prem. But a lot of players sign for USL and don't make it to the first teams of MLS teams. And why do you think that's the case?
I think because, I mean, the two different MLS and USL, they're both two different systems. And without promotion relegation, it's a lot harder for players to really move up. In addition to that, it's like, would you rather take a USL player? Would you rather take a homegrown or maybe someone from another league in Europe? And it's harder to make that jump up, you know? I mean, what do you think about that too?
I agree, bro. They're two different organizations, and I would say the promotion relegation, there isn't that big of an incentive to bring a guy from the lower league. Whereas I can just sign a 16-year-old who's somewhat as good as this guy, but there's a lot more potential. There's a lot more upside developing a homegrown player.
I think it's starting to become that scene where USL teams are like recognizing that now as well, that they could develop academy guys and even sell them to MLS clubs. Like we saw with Diego Luna, for example, who's starring for the US men's national team now. Played at El Paso Locomotive, got signed by RSL, and now is on the national team, you know? So I think USL has a place within the system where if you're a young player and you sign USL, you have a great chance, if you play well, signing to an MLS team and going beyond that. But for USL, I feel like the cons of it are that if you're an older player, like I want to say 27 plus, man, it's tough to, you know, swap from city to city every year, going to a different USL team, probably not making as much money as you need to. And that's why you see guys at 27, 28 who are supposed to be there in the prime of their careers retiring early. So how do you guys feel about guys in USL 27, 28 already retiring from the game?
It's tough as well, too, because to go back onto that jump with the MLS roster rules, too, if you're over 25, you're taking up a senior roster slot too, which makes it even harder. And I was talking to Harris about this the other day. A lot of the USL contracts, they're 1 year, 1+1. And so like you start getting 26, 27, you think about a career, maybe you have a girlfriend, a wife, and you want something stable. And it's like you're bouncing around club to club, and it gets to a point where it's like,
it's hard, man. It's hard. Like you might want to settle down somewhere, but you're on a 1-year contract. You don't make a lot of money, and you don't know like what's gonna happen. You might get injured that season. Then what?
The one thing about USL I'd say is the pros of it are definitely like, you know, the youth development. If you're a young player, and we're gonna get into the college route shortly, but I think if you're a young player who who wasn't a part of an MLS academy, doesn't really want to go to college route, sees that a professional is an option, sign for a USL club. You know, Louisville City does a great job at developing players. We've seen with the Widener brothers. We also, Orange County does well at it as well, selling some players overseas.
Bryce Jamison.
Yes, Bryce Jamison, and also the center back that they sold to Rems a while back. The
Kobe Henry?
Kobe Henry. Yeah. So they got some players coming through. But let's talk about the college route, man, because I feel like for me, before MLS Next came in the picture, college route was like that route. You know what I'm saying? You were having a lot of prospects come out that are now mainstays in MLS. Like we talked about Tani Oluwaseyi, who's, you know, featuring for Minnesota United right now, who's hooping right now. You know, there's a lot of players. Daryl Dike, who signed for West Brom. There was like before 2020, college soccer has some stars, man. You know what I'm saying? And then I want to say once MLS Next came and that process came, it changed, bro. A lot of guys were signing, you know, to MLS contracts very early. So how do you guys feel about that college route now?
I think it's an amazing route. Like I basically just kind of described this earlier with Isaiah. If you're not in an MLS academy, it's like it gives you that extra 3 to 4 years to develop and to kind of showcase yourself. I played for a junior college, and when I was playing for the junior college, there was a USL team nearby that kind of recognized and saw me play against Salt Lake Community College. And I wasn't even playing at a level where the exposure is so high, and that opportunity kind of presented itself.
Just from that game against LCC.
Exactly. Just from that game, from that, I was able to get that opportunity. But that's just like playing in a junior college in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That opportunity presented itself.
I guess that's what we talk about. It's like sometimes it just depends, you know, where people see you. I think the thing about the college route that really affected players was the fact that the season was only 3 months, bro. So that killed us, you know what I'm saying? When you go to the spring season, we only have like 5 meaningful ACC games. And that's about it. You know what I'm saying? Guys go out, you know, life happens. Guys go out, they party. Because, you know, also in college, some players on your team don't take the sport as serious as you. You know, when you go to a pro environment, everyone is there to be the best pro they could be. When you go to college, guys are content with, you know, just being a part of the team, being a part of the group. They get the work done, but, you know, the quality just isn't there. Like, you know, the ambition to get to that next level is there. So how did you guys keep that ambition going through the college system?
Yeah, I think the main thing was really just balance. And I think with that ambition, like having the extra stuff created even more ambition, knowing that like I have a degree, I know I have a backup plan, so let's just go for it now. So it's like that drive of having that security allowed me to kind of, not like a nothing to lose mentality, but it kind of freed me up to be like, okay, I have a plan if it doesn't work out, so let's just go all out in the footy, and then, you know, stuff started happening.
That's crazy. Mine is the complete opposite. I was in college and I was like, bro, I can't do this.
You can't do
like, I need to make it.
For sure, bro.
That's when it just made me pan up and lock in.
Yeah, I think the thing about college soccer is definitely, bro, it's a lot of individual work, because you also got to remember in college, like a lot of the coaches don't have time to individually train you on something that you're weak on. A coach might say it in a club when you're playing professionally, you might have a coach that comes work with you. If your finishing's not good, you have a coach on the side, assistant coach to come carry you, put you through the drills, finishing drills every day to make you get better. In college, it's like, all right, your finishing's not good. You got to go to the training pitch yourself and do it on top of school and work and a bunch of different things that are going on in your life. So I think the pros of the college life or the college route are that you're able to, continue your education. At least you have that to fall back on if football doesn't work out. Also, you're still playing football at the end of the day. You're playing quality competition. Like, think about it. Daryl Dike, Joe Bell. A lot of the guys who we played with and against made it to Europe, made it to these teams. Tajon Buchanan, who I played against at Syracuse, went from Syracuse to Inter Milan, bro. You know what I'm saying? So college soccer definitely has a route, and I think the pros are that you have guys from Europe who kind of make the level a little bit better. You have American guys who want to, come in and try to improve and make it to that pro level, even though they never got signed by an MLS team. The only cons of it are that I think the season's a little short and that, bro, it's college life, bro. It's college life, bro. You know what I'm saying? You gonna get turned, bro. It just happens.
Well, with that too, just like one last thing, like going back to the youth part, you were saying like you signed at 15, 16, you had that 3-year, 4-year contract. You might be done playing ball by 19, 20.
19, bro.
So it's like if you go to college, at least you can play at a high level and still build and have a plan and either get drafted or sign after that. Because like there's a big risk if you go pro young if you're not the right club.
Absolutely, man. We've seen it so many times. For every homegrown that makes it, I always say this, 10 didn't. So whenever you're seeing the likes of Jack McGlynn, playing with the national team, doing his thing, or even, Matt Freese, who signed for Philadelphia Union, Mark McKenzie, Austin Trusty, there's also names of players who I could go through who aren't even in MLS anymore, who signed homegrowns early, man. So it really just depends on your process. But I agree. Listen, I'm glad I took the college route because I didn't end up making it to MLS, and now I'm able to, make content and be a part of the space because of a college degree. So I'm one of those people who could definitely say that the college route was best for me too. Moving on, club soccer now. Club soccer, this route has completely changed because when I was younger, you had to play through club soccer. You have to go to ODP or, you go through provincials. The entire system has changed from those days.
Dude, it's so confusing. I don't know what league is what. I don't know the pathway. There's so many different leagues, bro. All the kids that we talk to, they're playing on these teams. I don't even know what's going on.
Bro, there's ECNL teams beating MLS Next teams. It's all over the place, bro. Like, even with us in Canada, there's, like, local teams beating the Whitecaps. It's hard to even tell what teams, like, who's better, what's the better pathway.
Just gets so crazy, confusing, man. And there's so much talent coming through because, like you guys said, not everybody could play for an MLS Next, a USL Academy team, even just because of where you live. Sometimes you live in Vancouver. What do you do if you live in Vancouver and you didn't make the Whitecaps back in the day?
Bro, it was just one academy. So there's one academy for the 4 states around, for the 4 provinces around. So if you didn't make that team, bro, you were cooked.
You're cooked, bro.
Like, the next team is Toronto FC, and that's like on the other side of the country. If you don't make that, then there's Montreal Impact. But it was just those 3 teams.
That's it. In Canada, there's only like 3 pathways for a lot of players. And that's the reason why Toronto, I believe, and Vancouver missed out on a lot of prospects because they weren't ready for it.
You know what's crazy? To add on to that, do you know Nico Sigger? Who
the guy who plays in doesn't he play in CPL for a little bit?
No, he plays in Croatia.
Okay.
But he's playing now for the Canadian men's national team. I used to play with him back for a BCSPL team, which is kind of like ECNL. He got dropped from Whitecaps, and now he went to Croatia because there was no other opportunity there. After you get dropped from Whitecaps, it's kind of like it's over. So he went to Croatia. He plays on a first division team in the Prem, and now he's playing for the Canadian men's national team, and he's linked to so many different moves all over Europe in the first division.
And that's how it is, bro. Like Isaiah Harris, like we talk about a lot of these players and a lot of these kids, on TikTok, on Instagram, asking you guys, what's the best route to make it? What is it? But the real answer is, bro, there's no best route. It's just wherever your career progresses, wherever you're able to showcase yourself and develop. And that's where the best route is going to be for you.
Yeah, that's what I tell all the kids. They're like, oh, should I go on this MLS Next team, ECNL? I'm like, wherever you're actually going to get playing time and develop, that's where you need to go. Because not going to benefit if you go to some team that you think is going to get you exposure if you're riding on the bench or you're not getting proper training. Like, you're going to develop by playing games. So it's like, I can't really say what's the best route.
And even that onto that environment goes so hand in hand with that. Like, you might be at the best team, but the environment
isn't what's best for you as a player individually. You know what I'm saying? I see so many players who are like, I play on the biggest team in this state. How many minutes are you playing? I play for the best team in MLS Next Pro. How many minutes are you playing? Are you developing as a player? Are you improving the skills that you need to improve on? Is your coach invested in your career? No. So clearly just because you play on the best teams doesn't mean that you're developing as a player. And we're also going to get into what do you guys think the pros and cons are of recreational soccer? And I think this is important because growing up U7, U8, I remember back in the day, you'd have, parents coming, coaching the teams. Like that was a big thing in like North American soccer. Like just the dad who was the most inclined to coach that day might coach a team.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you guys recognize that, U6, U7, U8, U9, this is where you're laying the foundation of all your technical development. And you'll see this as a coach because you're coaching guys who are, U13, U12, and you're saying like, where's your fundamentals at? Who was coaching you? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So what have you guys seen in the the grassroots level of just training? How are kids improving compared to what it was a couple of years ago?
I think the big thing is that kind of what you see in England and some of these other countries is that a lot of people's parents or individual coaches, they love the game so much that they're pouring into those grassroots levels. I haven't seen a ton of that in America where there's actually qualified coaches who want to take the time out of the day to develop. So it's like, if you get lucky and you get with a coach who knows what he's talking about at 6, 7, 8 years old, then you're chilling. But if not, then you might be cooked. You might get to U11 ball and you don't even know how to properly pass the ball and at the right pace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, those early years really set you up for success when it goes into U12, U13, U14, because that's when it does get competitive.
What's your guys' opinion on, having personal coaching and personal training as opposed to going outside and just playing with your friends and being creative and being free? Because what also I see a lot in this day and age is like, there's a lot of kids, U7, U8, going to personal training, one-on-one training sessions, learning like, skill moves and that. When I was younger, bro, I was just playing soccer on the road with my homies, South American homies, Ecuadorians, Peruvians, learning how to play and just doing things that I saw on YouTube early days when I was a kid. Nowadays, parents are paying like $300 a week just for their kid to train with a personal trainer, not knowing that all their creativity and creative freedom that they would learn on the pitch from playing just pick up in friends is gone. So how do you guys feel about that?
Structure is really important. Like you got to have some sort of structure to like understand, okay, this is the mistake that I'm making. This is how I need to improve it. But sometimes with having so much structure, you take the fun out of the game.
Do you guys think players are becoming robotic at a younger age because of that?
Yeah, 100%. But when you take that fun out of the game, bro, it's like you start to feel like football is more of a job, especially at those younger ages. You start to resent it. And when you get to our age, like 16, 17, older, you start to burn out, bro. And once you lose the fun of the game, the ambition to just want to get better, to want to go play the game, dies out.
I agree to that because similar to you, bro, I grew up playing with my brother in the backyard with our neighbors, backyard footy. We would be playing like, not in the street, but like going to like local facilities and just playing pickup. Like you learn all your stuff by playing games. And I don't think personal trainers are bad as long as they're allowing players to be creative.
Absolutely. I think to agree with Harris's standpoint, it's like the structure of the training is super important. That's why honestly, a lot of people love your videos, for example, because of the details, the small details and like the catchphrase, you know what I'm saying? But also you're allowing people to see the little things in professional development that you don't see, using your experiences playing for Vancouver Whitecaps Academy. Because think about it, Vancouver Whitecaps Academy, you're playing on that team, only 20 people got that opportunity to play on that team.
Out of the whole province?
Out of the whole entire
province.
4 provinces around Canada, only 20 players, and you're able to share that knowledge with millions of people around the world. It just shows the impact of social media within this space, bro, for sure.